You know how people say you shouldn't drive late at night? I used to think that was just an old wives' tale, like something your mom tells you to keep you from staying out too late. But after what happened to me a few weeks ago, I'll never get behind the wheel after midnight again. It started when I was driving back from my friend Jake's place. He lives about 3 hours away, and we'd had one of those lazy Saturdays where you lose track of time. It was already close to midnight when I finally hit the road, but I wasn't too worried. I'd driven that route plenty of times, and it's mostly highway. No big deal, right? The first 2 hours were fine. I had my playlist going, my coffee in the cup holder, and the road was empty except for a car or two here and there. It was actually kind of relaxing. But then, about 30 miles from home, my GPS froze. Like, completely stopped working. It wouldn't recalculate, wouldn't even show my location anymore. Just this blue dot stuck in the middle of nowhere. At first, I figured I'd just keep going straight. The highway signs would get me where I needed to go. But then I saw this exit coming up, and it looked familiar. I thought, oh, that's a shortcut. I've taken this before. Spoiler, I hadn't. The exit ramp took me onto this narrow 2-lane road that wound through some trees. No streetlights, no other cars, just me and my high beams. After about 10 minutes, I realized I'd made a huge mistake. The trees got denser, and the road started curving in ways that didn't feel natural. It was like it was trying to take me deeper into the forest instead of leading me out. But here's the weird part, there were no turnarounds. No places to pull over, no side roads. Just this endless, winding path that kept going. My stomach started doing that thing where it twists up, and you can't tell if you're scared or just about to throw up. I kept driving, though, thinking eventually, I'd find a main road or a sign or something. Then I saw it, this gas station up ahead. It was the first building I'd seen in miles, and its fluorescent lights were flickering like something out of a horror movie. I pulled in, mostly just to get my bearings. There was an old guy sitting behind the counter inside, but the moment I stepped through the door, he looked at me like I wasn't supposed to be there. "You lost?" he asked. His voice was raspy, like he'd been smoking a pack a day since birth. "Yeah," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "My GPS isn't working. I just need to know how to get back to the main highway." The guy didn't answer right away. He just stared at me for a long time, like he was sizing me up. Then he said something that sent chills down my spine. "You shouldn't have come this way," he muttered, barely loud enough for me to hear. "What does that mean?" I asked. He shook his head and finally gave me some vague directions about taking the next left and driving straight for a while. "But don't stop," he added, almost like an afterthought. "Don't stop." I repeated, confused. He didn't explain. He just looked at me again, that same weird look from before, and said, "You'll see." I was too freaked out to ask any more questions. I got back in my car, started it up, and headed out. I followed his directions, and sure enough, I found the left turn he mentioned. It was a long, straight road with nothing but trees on either side, and that's when I saw it. At first, I thought it was just a shadow or maybe an animal crossing the road. But as I got closer, I realized it was a person. No, not a person. It looked like a person, but there was something off about them. Their proportions were wrong, like their arms were just a little too long, and their head tilted at this weird angle. They were standing in the middle of the road, facing away from me. I slowed down, thinking maybe they needed help, but then I remembered what the guy at the gas station said, "Don't stop." So I didn't. I kept driving, swerving around them, and as I passed, I swear I saw their head turn all the way around to look at me. Their eyes, they were glowing, like an animal's eyes in the dark. After that, I floored it. I didn't care about staying on the road or following the guy's directions anymore. I just needed to get out of there. I drove for what felt like hours before I finally saw the familiar green sign for the highway. When I got home, I locked every door and window and sat on my couch, shaking. I tried to convince myself it was all in my head, just my imagination playing tricks on me. But the next morning, when I went out to my car, there were these long, deep scratches running down the side. I don't know what I saw that night, and honestly, I don't want to know. All I know is that I'm never driving at night again.